Welcome to the official YouTube channel for the Colin Cowherd podcast. Go on, hit the subscribe button. There you go, right down there. If you want to be among the first to hear my weekly takes, NFL, college football, more, right there. I feel with some confidence that the first two players picked in this draft are going to be Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels. Based on what I'm hearing on Jayden Daniels' playing style and Cliff Kingsbury's history, that Washington thinks that's a better fit for the current staff. And they also believe Jayden Daniels' ability, and you've seen this, to move buys you a couple of years of figuring out complex NFL defenses. We saw it with Lamar, which Jalen Hurts, where you run around for Russell Wilson. You run around for a couple years until you kind of figure out Josh Allen. You know, it's like I'm gonna run around for a couple years on 3rd and 6, and it buys you drives, it buys you wins, buys you time to figure out complex defenses. Most quarterbacks say in year 3. Mahomes, I think, said beginning of year 3, everything's slowed down. I get it now. So this is what I'm hearing, that if I asked 2 executives in the league, they said their feeling was Caleb 1, Jayden Daniels 2. Drake May's inconsistency scares them, but if you go back a year to hit a year's
he
ago,
was good 2 years ago. Yeah,
if you go back to it, it's a lot like Jordan Love. There's a lot to like. If you go back to the previous year, he ran for 600-700 yards. Anticipatory throws. Sometimes you lose a coordinator, a left tackle, an NFL receiver, whatever it is. Jordan Love lost a lot of people. Good junior tape or sophomore tape, bad junior tape. So anyway, Cliff Kingsbury, Jayden Daniels is what I'm hearing.
I think 2 things can be true. I think Caleb's in his own universe in this class.
Yeah.
So whoever goes 2, it's hard to make an argument that they made the wrong decision. Right? Because like you said, Drake kind of fell off this year. Jayden Daniels, somewhat of a one-year wonder. J.J. McCarthy, his statistical profile, the way what he's been asked to do is they could win games with him throwing 9 attempts a game. It was like Jimmy Garoppolo 2019 against the Packers.
Yeah.
I do think, though, in knowing Adam Peters, and this is why it's kind of been a little cloak and dagger, he's kind of from the Belichick. He's not a big talker to the media, letting know what's going on. Obviously, he's worked at places that are very beholden to the head coach, and it's smart to give the head coach and the operation who you want. But Cliff Kingsbury, if they were to have success, like, he could get a college job. Like, so anytime you draft because of your coordinator, it's one thing if you draft. If Sean McVay's like, let's take Michael Penix in the first round. Why no? As long as Sean McVay's there, he's the guy calling the plays. Or LaFleur or Kyle or Andy. But, like, is Cliff Kingsbury, if they have success, guaranteed to be there? I always find that their head coach is a defensive guy, and we've seen before he's very predicated. His success was on Kyle, and then they had a little success with Sark, and then it kind of fell apart once they all left. So yeah. I think you should take whoever you feel the best player is, and it's hard if you throw on just go to YouTube, watch Jayden Daniels and Malik Neighbors. He's really good. I mean, there's no disputing. He's got a big-time arm. He's obviously an elite athlete. He's accurate down the field. The knock is size, weight, that being, not height. Yeah. But the way he plays, he's one of Lamar's great attributes is he doesn't take big hits. Yeah. Michael Vick was kind of the opposite. He kind of took on. Jayden takes that on. And in the NFL, this might not be 1983, but you still get hit hard.
But if Dan Quinn says, Cliff, I'm gonna give you a lot of say in this, and Cliff, let's just say it's selfish, says, well, I've had the Jayden Daniels style before. I can win with that style.
Yeah, he knows he can.
Yeah, so I could see Dan relinquishing some to Adam and Cliff and saying, okay, you guys, I want input. And Cliff saying, well, I've worked with that before. The Jayden thing I can use, I can do. I'm just told that style, Kingsbury, Jayden Daniels, right now, that's the feeling that's where they're going.
I was talking to a buddy who's a high up guy with a team that does not need a quarterback. And his comment was, after Caleb Williams, I'm glad I'm not in that business because it's just not that. I mean, all these guys are talented. Like I'm even pro JJ McCarthy because my comp to him is a little Alex Smith.
Yeah.
Clearly, he's a high-level guy, physical attributes. He goes to the right place, he can have success. But the history shows more than half of these guys fail.
Right.
And it's an overwhelming position. Even these guys coming from LSU, Michigan, these even North Carolina, it's a whole different ball game now. The popularity of the NFL, the pressure of the NFL. You've talked about it. By the second Thanksgiving, it's like either shit or get off the pot here. So it's pedal to the metal. Money doesn't matter anymore. We can pay you to leave. We'll cut you. I mean, the Jets, there's a decent chance the Jets cut Zach Wilson. Clearly, they're hoping to trade him.
Well,
no one's trading for an $8 million backup that can't play.
Well, this is one of the most circumstantial drafts I remember. And I'll give you a team. The New York Giants. I was told this 2 days ago by a higher up in the NFL in a front office. He said, take a look at the New York Giants. He goes, if Jayden Daniels or Drake May fall, they will take them.
Yeah.
They're not moving up. They don't want to give up draft capital. They're stuck with Daniel Jones. But they could either take Jayden Daniels or Drake May. This executive said that would make a lot of sense if they fell to you. If they don't, they would also potentially take a star receiver if Harrison or Neighbors is available. Or they look at it and think, oh, those two receivers are now both gone. The Chargers can't get out of 5. They take Harrison goes to Arizona. The Chargers can't move back. They take a receiver, which they need, and the Giants trade down. And this executive said, the Giants are a great example of you can do a million mock drafts. It's going to depend on what happens above them, because his take is it's really rich. When you have an average roster and the Giants' offensive roster is below average.
Below. For
and
now,
then
Saquon gone for sure.
You cannot give up multiple firsts. Like, you need hits. And the safest hits in this draft, in any draft, is a first-round pick in the top 12. So this person was just saying the Giants are a classic example. They'll take a quarterback if they fall. Probably won't, but they would. They'll take a receiver if the Chargers don't. They'll move down potentially. And he said this draft is going to be outside of the top couple of picks. He said Washington and Chicago aren't moving. After that, it's all circumstantial. It's if Minnesota goes hyper aggressive, the other thing he says, keep your eye on Denver. Everybody's talking about falling back. He said, if you like Bo Nix and the Raiders jump ahead of you 2 spots, and these quarterbacks start drying up, McCarthy, you got 4 of them gone, and you're not into Penix, which if you look at Peyton's offense, Penix isn't a good fit. So I think we're just going to have kind of a wild draft. I do think there's going to be multiple teams trading down, and I can't wait for it.
Well, to me, the visits that you see come across the wire, like so-and-so visited a team, random guys, sometimes it can be smoke screens or whatever. But when you see the top 10 guys, when like all the receivers are going to meet Harbaugh, when all the receivers are going to New York, when Penix and Bo Nix are going to the Raiders and going to Denver, those are enormous job interviews, right? I mean, there's already been parts of the job interview, but that's sitting down with the owner, eating a meal, spending time with the entire staff for large portions of a day. You feel one way or another when that guy leaves because you already know him as a player. So it's like, do I trust this guy? And that can be the swing for a lot of these guys, right? Because this does not feel like a draft, like you said, where anyone's hiding anything. We all know who needs the receivers. We know who needs the quarterbacks. The Daboll thing, though, after his first year, it was hard not to go, God, this guy's a star. What he did with a pretty average roster. Last year was pretty embarrassing.
Yeah.
Right. They doubled down on Daniel Jones. It was immediately ugly. The coaches weren't getting along. It's pretty embarrassing. It's not something that the old school owner likes. There's pressure. He can't just have another crappy season and everything be kumbaya, especially the Cowboys and the Eagles are having. Now Washington starts trending up. You got McVay and Shanahan crushing. Packers are good. It's like, what the hell are the Giants doing? Getting lapped in obscurity and embarrassment. So I would imagine if you're Daboll, you want players. You don't want a quarterback, right? Because if you get a rookie quarterback, the guy comes in maybe by late October, you're already kind of bad. Your offensive weapons suck. And then you're going to want one of those wide receivers, maybe the second round, take another offensive weapon and try to be competitive this year. Now that's where in the NFL, sometimes these teams coming off bad years, the coach and the front office and the ownership can have different visions. And that's where things can get weird. So if I was Daboll, I would not want a quarterback because there's no guarantee I'm lasting 4 years. The Giants ran through like 3 coaches in 6 years.